everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I just finished watching episode 6 of Amazon's Rings of Power, and I gotta say, wow, okay, definitely not even close. This was absolutely the best episode of the show so far. Wow, we finally have the big convergence of plot lines that I have been waiting on, that I think a lot of people have been waiting on. Look, it's no secret, this show has been somewhat of a slow burn. It's been a lot of build up, like without much payoff. It's like we're introducing new people, introducing new things, introducing new conflicts. We're learning about people, and that can all be really interesting if you have the patience for it. Like, I was willing to have the patience for it, but it was definitely something where it's like, okay, but what's gonna happen, like, when's the thing gonna happen, the big, what's this all leading up to? There's some kind of big event that's gonna happen, and we know ultimately there is going to be, the fight against Sauron and all that stuff, but this is all building up towards something more closely that's gonna happen, more, right now. And it finally happened in this episode. So basically what we have Galadriel and Numenor, that plot line, which, like I said last week, was the weakest of the plot lines. We have that finally meeting, I can't remember his name, the elven soldier and the people of the Southlands, finally converging into one epic, just episode, and it's nothing but that. So we do not get anything about the Stranger or Elrond or those two plot lines, but we do get these two converging with each other. And I gotta say, it was very, very satisfying. So, of course, we have the people of the Southlands trying to, hide away from the orcs who are being led by, what's his name? Amon? Or it starts with an A. But the guy, the corrupted elf that they call Father, who, by the way, we do get an identity for this guy. But basically it's just this epic battle where they're running away from him, and then they set traps for him, but then the orcs ended up sending the humans that sided with them, they ended up sending them out, so that way the people that they're fighting are their neighbors, basically, so there's just great action scenes that they pulled off here, but of course it's like the last second and they have drastically lost, and here comes Numenor and Galadriel and this army of people, and they come and save the day, and it's really great and it's awesome, and they capture the father, the leader, the corrupted elf guy, and we learn some things. First, this corrupted elf is indeed the first, or he's one of the first, messed up elves that Morgoth, right? I think that's his name, the Sauron's boss. Morgoth. He corrupted a bunch of elves, and that's, over time they essentially turned into orcs, or uruks, as he would say. And that's essentially where orcs came from. And we heard this history lesson from Saruman in the trilogy of movies, so we've known this. And basically, that's who this guy is. He is one of the first orcs. He's all corrupted and messed up, and they call him Father because, I don't know if it's literally that he's some of their dads or if he created them in some way. But he is the oldest amongst them. He is an orc, even though he looks very elvish. But he's all corrupted and messed up, which is what the orcs technically are. They're just messed up elves. So yeah, and then he claims, basically, here's what he tells them, which obviously this could all be a lie. He tells Galadriel that, I killed Sauron because he was leading us all north, and he was doing all these experiments trying to get into the Netherworld, that place that you see when you put on the One Ring. He was trying to get into that place for some reason, and so I decided I am done with him trying to kill my children, right? His orcs, and so he says he killed him, which it's like, okay, come on, did this, and he even says, what, are you surprised that an orc could kill Sauron? And basically it's like, yeah, I don't believe you, which is smart, because how could he? But there's probably some twist to that. Some people are still convinced that Halbrand, the guy who's supposed to be king of the Southland, some people are convinced that he is Sauron, and it's possible because he shows up with Galadriel and the rest of Numenor, and no one seems to recognize him, so they have to introduce him this is Halbrand. He's meant to be your king. All hail King Halbrand. And the people join in because they're like, yeah, he was there, he helped save us, yay, Hellbrand, so it kind of seems like it's gonna be like an okay ending. They got the weapon back, this hilt that they were looking for, which they talk about how it's a key. Like, they have that, and they're talking about like, all right, we're gonna have the Numenorians throw it into the water, and now the southern lands people will have their king now, and everything's great, except when they talk about the weapon and they go to look at it, they unbundle it real quick. It's not the weapon, it's just some hammer. Who has the weapon? Where did it go? And it turns out the old guy who had it in his barn the whole time, the one who was loyal to Sauron and joined the orcs there, he has gone up to the watchtower, and he is using the hilt as the key it's supposed to be used as. And apparently, here's what the plan was. All those tunnels they were digging, it wasn't so that they could move around in the tunnels. It was so that it was passageways for water. They basically broke the dam, made all this water rush through the underground tunnels to a volcano, to the mountain, to the lava beneath the mountain. Because, by the way, guys, if you don't know your basic, geological facts, all mountains are just dormant volcanoes. If you guys don't know that, or at least I'm pretty confident that that's the case, right? All mountains are just dormant volcanoes. Anyways, so basically they pour a bunch of water in there, and that causes the magma / lava to rise, I guess. I'm not sure if like the science behind that, like pouring a bunch of water in there, something about pressure, I guess. I don't, hey, I'm not a scientist. I don't know why that would work or how that would work exactly, but they poured a bunch of water in there, and that basically caused the mountain that is in the Southlands to explode. A very famous volcano that we know of called Mount Doom. And man, you just instantly see this dark black cloud of volcano ash go into the air, and it's like enveloping everyone. And they had just celebrated their victory, of course. So ultimately, yeah, the orcs just won, because now they can go around this entire area. It's theirs now. The sun is being blotted out by the volcanic smoke, which of course is all of how Mordor works, right? Like the entire area of Mordor is like covered in this smoke. So yeah, pretty crazy. And it feels nice to like have this, like, not just like a small little, like, okay, a little bit of stuff happens. Like, no, this was a very epic historical, this was like an important piece of the lore thing that happened. Mount Doom has erupted, and Mordor essentially is now, it's Mordor now. Like, that's basically it, right? Obviously they still, they're gonna have to kill the people in the Southlands, or they're all gonna have to surrender. I have to imagine that the Numenorians and Galadriel are gonna flee, right? Because, like, what can you do now, right? Like, there's no daylight advantage, oh man. And there's still, of course, the question, is Halbrand Sauron? We know this guy's not, so we can like check one off. He's not Sauron. He is the first Uruk, right? Now he claims he killed Sauron, which I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Like, I think everyone's like, yeah, okay, guys, sure you did, sure. Halbrand seems to really hate this guy, and he even tells Galadriel, like, you don't know what he did. So it's like, okay, are you Sauron and he tried to kill you? Or is something else entirely happened? We don't know yet. But, man, this was a great episode. Genuinely a great episode. And I know some people are going to say, look, you shouldn't have to, we shouldn't have had to wait 6 episodes to get here. But, hey, I'll say this. It paid off. And we still have the other 2 plot lines, which are still building their stuff, The stranger, the comet man, he's going to pay off at some point. Now, we're all pretty confident that we know what's happening, but maybe we don't, Like, that's still possible that we don't actually know what's happening at all. And what's up with the Mithril? It's still kind of iffy. I'm assuming that that's where the elven necklaces are being made from the Mithril, but, that's its own thing. But, yeah, just, this was great. It was awesome. It felt like a weight was lifted off the show to, like, okay, something not just like big but like very important happened, like this was an important event that however long this series is going to last, this is like one of those important events that people are going to remember, like, oh yeah, remember when Mount Doom erupted? Oh man, this was really cool. It was really cool. Now, my hope is that we don't split these, plot lines up again. Like the Elven Soldier and Galadriel, like I want their two teams to stick together. You know what I mean? Like I don't want them all to suddenly separate again. Now the people in the Southlands have to struggle to survive, and Galadriel just leaves. She just goes up north somewhere. Like no. Like keep them together. This is good. You know what I mean? Because it feels like things are finally moving. We have all these Numenorians over here in Middle Earth. People like Isildur and his father are where they're supposed to be. Like keep them here. Don't go back to Numenor, please. I'm sure the Queen Regent will go back to Numenor, but keep Isildur and his father here. Like obviously they gotta stay here. But man, just if anything, this makes me kind of wish that like maybe they should have released like half of the season first, like just all at once or something, because I know they released 2 episodes, but it was still like another 3 weeks of build up before we came to this episode, so it's like it feels like if they had released this some other way or something, then maybe more people would be like willing to give it a chance, because I'll admit you gotta have the patience to sit through 5 episodes of it. That's 5 hours of these characters and stuff, and I will say it's worth it. Like it did pay off, but like you do kind of go like, well, that Numenor Galadriel stuff, that could have been cut down, right? Like they changed their minds, it felt like 4 different times before they decided to finally leave. But man, this episode was great. Genuinely, like I enjoyed watching that, and I was like, whew, man, that was like, I'm excited now. I'm just really, really excited. Like I was enjoying it before, but now I'm excited, so it feels like a major step was taken, I guess. That's all I'm saying. It feels like, okay, things have changed. This is gonna be something else now. The show has changed. So I'm happy, Now, if next episode they concentrate entirely on the stranger and the Comet Man, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with like they hit pause on this and then like let's go explore that. What's up with that guy? Let's get some more answers. It feels like we get a little bit of answers every time we see him, but if we get some kind of significant answer of or at least like one really big hint, and it's some kind of twist that we don't see coming, then that would also be really exciting. So yeah, just Rings of Power, it is, like I said, it is a slow burn. It's high fantasy. It's doing its thing. I'm enjoying it. I really am. I know that there's this whole campaign against it and, people mad, right? But they're doing it. You know what I mean? And if anything, this episode proves that, like, they're not just, like, spinning their wheels, stretching this out as long as they can. Like, no. They have a plan. This is going somewhere. You just have to have the patience, and believe me, like I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I have all the patience in the world. It's like, no. I mean, I feel it too, like I also have some of that undiagnosed ADD thing going like, come on, can we get to the stuff? Can we get to the thing? Like I have that problem too, but like it paid off. They did it. Good job, guys. You did it, so I'm excited now. I don't know what they're going to cover next episode. But, hey, awesome job. Mount Doom is erupted. Mordor is here. We'll see how the rest of this develops. All right, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.